back to the channel. So I just want to remind you guys to check out the videos before this. The one that's the Captain Cody destroys a Droideka bot I put on there. That's the one that you could win if you want to. There's just 4 things to do. And yeah, just check out that video. It's just under it. And subscribe to the channel and help me out just a little bit. So today, what I'm going to do, I keep a log of everything I do when it comes up to making dioramas and stuff like that. I just started more doing this recently. Everything that I've done is basically written down, and it's not you know, elaborate or anything. It's not elaborate. So what I'd like to try to do today is, and this was just a funky picture, I got myself an anglerfish. Okay, and it's about 3 maybe 4 inches with this piece here on. I want to make a diorama with this, but I want to do this one this time in resin. So we're trying something really different. We're started off by printing our anglerfish, and it doesn't really have any teeth, and I don't like that. Looks like me, no teeth. So what I'd like to do, starting first of all, is to take his mouth. So we'll take a little saw, and all I want to do is cut a bit in here. You see what I'm doing? I'm just cutting down into the mouth. And you say, Richard, why are you doing that? Well, what I'd like to do, oh, I just snapped off the eyepiece. That's okay, we're going to replace that too. What I want to do is I want to open his mouth wider. So we're going to go ahead and cut this a bit. Now I cut it just a bit. And then I think what we're going to do is we're just going to use our burner. I don't know if you can see that, sorry. Let me bring you guys down. And then I'm just going to sort of burn into here just a bit. Just like so. Just to see if I can start flexing his mouth more to a certain point. We may have to just cut into his mouth. Then we can always fix that up later. Just want to see if I could get this to cut a bit. Push down. I don't think we have to go all the way. Even if his mouth opens, it breaks, we're okay, because we'll reglue that. Okay. I can feel it starting to give. There we go. Shut that off. Alright, so you can see that I'm trying to open his mouth more. We'll just kind of bend that as much as we can to have it open a lot more. Okay, and in this part, we're just going to fix that up. What we're going to just do is heat it back together. So we'll start together. Anglerfish are really, really nasty looking fish, so there's a lot of yuckiness to them, as you could tell. So we're just going to weld this back together, like so. We'll do the other side too. Alright, I just want to show you guys. With my tool, I ended up just cutting, put little marks in them, just to make them look ugly. So the next step we're going to do is we're going to add teeth, and then we are going to paint them up. Alright, stay tuned. Alright, so every tooth that I'm putting in here is done with a toothpick, a little bit of hot glue on it, just enough to stick to it, and one fuck of a patience, I'll tell you. That's a pain in the ass, hot glue. We've said it before. Alright, so here we go. We got our teeth in. Alright, so now that we have that set, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take some crazy glue. Now, this is called super glue, and it's from the dollar store, and I don't like it. It's not the best, but it's what they had left. And all I want to do is I'm going to just dip it. I'm just going to pour it all over the teeth. I got to put my glasses on. I don't see anything anymore. I'm getting old. And we're just going to dot each one of them. Just for, whoop. Because if they don't stick now, they'll never stick at all. Right. So, this is not the easy spray stuff. Like, I even try using some of this stuff at times, and I don't find the accelerator works very well on this stuff. I mean, it does and it doesn't. I know they're on there pretty solid now because the hot glue really helps. I'll tell you that. Pretty nasty looking, eh? And he's gonna go upwards. Should open his mouth just a bit more, but that's fine. This is what I'm looking for. All right, so we're gonna let this guy dry. And I'm going to bed. Imaginary watch. I'm going to bed because it is midnight. And I'm going to let that set. Tomorrow we will set off by painting it. Just going to add some white paint to it, and then we'll figure out the colors. All right. We're back. So we primed it. Again, I don't always use a primer. Sometimes I use the airbrush primer, and or if I go outside I can use a rattle can. It's too cold out there to do it. So what I did was I usually use just a watered down whiter gray, and I water it down, and that way other paint can stick to it that much easier. So we still got to paint it up, but that's fine. So next is we wanted to build, you know, a box, a stand for it kind of thing to put it on, so that it'll be in like this, and then we're gonna put our I'm thinking it's going to be something to do more with epoxy coming up. We'll see what happens. So what I initially did was took a square, poked a hole right through it. That's where the lighting will go through. And then we had to build a box. So what we did was we just cut it so that this can sit in, and I cut it a little bit too big, but that's okay because we have a little piece that'll generally just fit in there. So you can turn it on and off. We found lights. I'm not going to use these lights, it's too long. Well, we could use them, but we're going to cut them. And then we just want to have like a cover for it. So pretty simple. We're just going to hot glue our top and bottom to it. So like so. And we'll just make sure that it goes on straight. Very simple. And then same with the back. Just add a little bit of hot glue all the way around. A couple little pieces here and there just to have it so it can stick. And we'll add that. Make sure it's flush. And there we have our box to hold our battery in place. Okay, also we have to cut a hole. We'll just make a hole in here so when we put this on, so that the wire can run through. We have quite a bit of you know, to use here, and what the purpose of that is when this goes in and we want to change the battery, we can just pull the box, you know, out, change the battery, and we still have like this much room to go in and out, so we'll be okay. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set this up so I can find the center. Doesn't have to be perfect, but we want to knock it off. 1.5 is about here, and all I'm going to do is find more of the center of itself. Like I said, I'm not too worried. You'll never see this hole anyway. And we're just going to cut a nice big hole, and that will be for the wire to go through. Okay, so the next thing we need to do, obviously, is we got to figure out how much wire we're going to use. We're going to have to glue this on, figure out how we're going to put the fish. We're also going to use some sort of you know, kind of scenery like that, and that should be encased in epoxy at the time, and then we'll just kind of grind these things down once the epoxy's in. So the first step, I'm assuming, is we also have to drill a hole. What we're going to do is we're going to put the light so that the light, I'll turn it on here. This will be the first light, will be where his, we're going to run it through the fish so that he'll have his light like this. I don't know if you can see that. We'll run it like that, and then we'll run it to the fish. That's why we don't need all these lights, but we're going to have a little bit in the bottom here on the inside. So you'll kind of flare upwards, the lighting. Don't know if that makes sense, but you'll see it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this, and I'll be right back. So with a little bit of fighting, this is what we got. So we put the battery in here. We can even cover this up just to have the little nozzle come out, which is fine. But here we go. So we got light happening in here, which is going to be cool. And then we have his light that's coming here. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to cover it with paint. We're going to paint our anglerfish. And we're going to figure out how we're going to put up walls so we can pour epoxy in, a blue. We're going to peel it off. Hopefully it doesn't, we're not going to get the epoxy in here. We just want it on here, but hopefully it stays in there enough that it won't wreck this. Never tried this before. First time. And yeah, so let's just get this all painted up and see what it looks like. So just finished up a little bit of painting. Now, I want to show you guys, I put some shit around it. Some trees, kind of bush. These are glow-in-the-dark stones. Alright. I'm just going to switch it on. Let me just see if this helps. I'm going to shut this light off. I'm going to turn this guy on. And you can see I wired it up on the inside like I showed you guys. So, nothing that's hard to do, but dollar store lights. Just cut them to whatever I wanted. And that looks pretty cool. I bet you it looks even better with the lights off. Ooh, look at that. I think that's pretty cool. So we're going to count this as part 1. And then hopefully tomorrow we can get ourselves pieces of acrylic so we could stand them up, and then we're gonna have some epoxy there. We're gonna try pouring it in and see what happens. We'll go about, like I said, about maybe this high from here to here, and then we're gonna epoxy. Then we're gonna put a little boat on here with the guy fishing. I don't know. Anyway, part 1. Stay tuned for part 2, guys. See you soon.